This video is just one part of a set of videos called Making Effective Selections, and the subject here is the Polygonal Lasso tool. But I'd like to introduce a couple of other tools that are going to help. One is the Rotate View tool and also saving selections. If you look at what selection tools I've chosen for which projects within this set of videos, you'll quickly see that there's an enormous crossover between many of them. In some respects, we could say it's a little bit like leaving someone a note. It doesn't really matter if we use a pencil or a pen to write our note. We get to the same end result. Very often, the factor that determines which tool we use, either to leave a note or here in Photoshop, is going to be our own preference for that particular tool. For example, if you look at my video on the freehand lasso tool, we could have used the Polygonal Lasso tool and got exactly the same results. Not forgetting, of course, that we can mix and match different selection tools. What I'd like to do here is to remove this wooden soldier from the background using the Polygonal Lasso tool, a task that's going to be a lot quicker than we may first think. So where do we start? Well, we need to zoom in considerably to something around 500%, but that's not hugely critical. The bigger we make the image, the more accurate the selection is likely to be. But of course, the bigger the image, we're going to slow down the process a bit. I'm going to make a start by just selecting the zoom tool and zoom into the image in any way you wish, but get it up to about 500%. If you look down at the bottom left corner of the screen, you can see I've got something around 437%. I can click again and it takes it to 500%. Not forgetting that to move the image around to get it into a comfortable position to start, we can touch that space bar and the hand tool appears and we can click and drag the image around. Then of course we need our Polygonal Lasso tool. So I'm going to select that from the toolbox, and we're going to need to add one selection to another. So if we've not already done that, check the little box up at the top left of the screen, because we're just going to do this in a small part at a time. So what I'd like to do here is to create my selection a pixel or two just inside the edge of the soldier. No one is going to miss 2 pixels. And the trick, as I said a few moments ago, is to make each section of our selection a little at a time, and we break off at logical places. So let's make a start at the top left of the hat. The idea is to click and we leave that elasticated thread, but because we're about to go around a gentle curve here, I'm going to move a short distance and click, short distance and click, 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 click. You'll soon get a feel for how long these straight lines need to be. And of course we're ultimately going to output this to a mask, so even if we do make a silly error, all is not lost. But as you can see, as I get round to this section here, I get to smaller steps, click, 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 click. I'll just come round the corner there. Now we're at a logical position here to maybe go down and join up with the start. So that part of my selection is safe. Now that's a good thing to do, because now I can touch the spacebar, I can move the image over a little bit so I can get it into a nice position so I'm comfortable with my hand. Then, because I've got the add one selection to another, see the little plus, I can start there, go to the edge, and now I can work down the hat. So click, click, click. I will work a little bit quicker than normal here, because obviously we've got to think about the video length. When I run out of picture, I can just touch my space bar, the hand tool appears, and I can click and drag, so I can go down a bit further. But look, here's another logical place. So if I just click, click, I've now got two sections that are joined up, and using the space bar to get into position. Now I can do the next, and you can see the technique is not that difficult. I'm going to make smaller steps around this little button type thing on the hat. So there's the way we want to go. But of course it's going to take probably 10 minutes to go around the outside of this soldier. You may not want to do that all in one go. You could do a bit one night and finish off the next. So to do that, we're going to need to save our selection. Very easy. We're making a selection, so up to the select menu, down to save a selection, and all we need to do is give it a name and OK. Now I can save my image, close down Photoshop, walk away, come back tomorrow and retrieve my selection. Well, as you can see by the fact that the soldier has disappeared, let's just simulate that by closing the image down after saving. I'm going to go to File, Open, and I'll open up my soldier start here, which is the one I was working on. I'll zoom back in. I won't go quite so big just yet, but when I go to my select menu, now I've got the option to load a selection. There's the channel or the selection that we saved. Click OK, and there we are back to where we left off. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use the shortcut keys of Control and Spacebar just to zoom in more, get this up to about 500%. But there's another tool I'd like to introduce you to that doesn't do anything to our image, it just helps us working with tools like this and others too. Now you know how sometimes if you were drawing on a piece of paper in front of you or even signing your name, we tend to tilt the paper one way or another to make things easier. Well, we can do that here. If we go over to the toolbox and the hand tool, grouped with the hand tool is a tool called Rotate View. When I select that, I can click anywhere on the picture, and as you can see I can rotate it. I can then use the space bar to use the hand tool to drag this down into position, because just where I'm sitting with my Wacom graphics tablet, I think that curve is going to be a lot easier at this angle. So then I can go back and select my polygonal lasso. I can start just on the inside there, and I can start to make my selection around the outer edge. So all we've got to do really is just take our time and just go round in short steps. Here's another position where we could just join one selection to another. You can see it's quite easy and it's safe to do. So just click, click, click. Now I'm at a bit of an odd angle. So I can either go back and select the tool and rotate the soldier back, or I can just double click the tool, and as you can see that does the same thing, because the shoulder of the soldier may be better for me to do at this angle. Now looking at my selection down here, I think I've made a little mistake, because I don't want to include the woodwork here, and this line really I think should come straight down, and I'm unsure what this is, whether it's a shadow just behind the soldier, because if you look at the neck on the left hand side, that seems to have a bit of a shadow. So all that is, I think, is a bit of a shadow. So what I'll do is I'll just correct this straight away. If I touch my Alt key, you'll notice my polygonal tool changes to a minus. So I'm using it now at the setting of subtract from a selection. So I can say to Photoshop, look, what I want to do is to pick up from this point here, but I really need to go probably straight down. And once I've done that and I release the tool, then I'm back to my plus sign. Now I can pick up my selection and continue. Click, 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 click. Now I'm not entirely sure how much of this I need to do. My guess is you've probably got a good feel for this straight away. Remember, we are working, or we will be working, with a layer mask. So if all else fails, we still have a way of putting right any errors that we spot a bit later. But I think I'll stop at this point. You see, it's another logical spot to stop, because I'm now in a position where I would need to move and maybe even use that rotate tool to rotate this round, and I could move it over here, and then I've got quite a nice distance to travel to add the next selection. Not forgetting, of course, that from time to time save that selection. But let's just do it once more. Let's go to Select, Save Selection, because here we can either add one selection to another, which is probably what we want to do here, or we could make the selection in a series of different selections, but we'd have to select them all one at a time. That wouldn't be very good. So let's select the soldier, and what we're going to do is just add the selections we've made to the selections we've made before. Add to a channel. Click OK, and now what we've done there is safely stored. If we save the image once again, we can come back another day. Now, with the spinning round of the screen, I've completed the selection of my soldier, and I've got it opened up. So let's get the selection back in place as if we'd come back on another day. Select, load selection. There's the channel that I gradually built up. Click OK. There I have my selection. Now, just for a moment, I'm going to open up my channels. I'm going to hit Ctrl D to remove that selection. Let me go to my window menu here. I'm going to open up channels, and I think I'll drop them over here, and I think I'll make them a little bit bigger too. Panel options, let's make them nice and big so you can see them. When we actually saved that selection, what Photoshop's done has created this alpha channel. So that's sitting in the background of our image. We don't have to come in and look at it, it's just for your interest. But we can select the soldier in a slightly different way now, because if I hold my Control key and just click the soldier layer, there's my selection instantly replaced. So we can either do it through the select menu, but we can do it through channels as well. And now you can see why when we saved one selection to another, it said, did we want to add it to the channel? Well, this is the channel it was referring to. So now we're back to exactly the position we've been a number of times. All we've got to do now is go to Select and Mask, and we can start to think about removing the entire background. Now, because I retrieved my selection from the channels, or if I did so from the select menu, because we haven't got one of the selection tools selected, we cannot see the select and mask button up at the top of the screen. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go down to the bottom of my layers, and I'm just going to click to bring up a mask, because instantly we can see the mask knows we've got a selection in place and automatically floods the area outside the soldier with black, and it becomes transparent. But if we did want to go into our select and mask, of course we can now do that by double clicking the layer mask itself. Now, once the properties window opens up, it will generally remember the last view settings we had, and we chose black on white or white on black, and it suits my purpose here. I would like to soften the edge of the mask or our selection, but of course the selection's now been turned into a mask. With a solid edged or sharp edged subject like this, I've found that if you're working with a camera that records 20 million pixels or even more, it's very rare you're going to want more than 1-2 pixels of feather to make the edge just nice. So I'm just going to overtype that 0.7, and the reason there's a value in there is because last time he was working in this box we must have ticked the box to remember the settings. So I'm going to put 1 pixel of feather in there, But I don't feel the need to shift the edge or look at the image in any other way because I placed my Polygonal Lasso tool myself, so I know it's going to be just about right. So I'm quite happy now to click OK and say I'm happy with the selection, the cutout and the edge of my soldier. Now I've just saved my image as a Photoshop file because that saves the mask, which creates the transparent effect, but I've also got the selection still saved with the image, which of course is a channel. But what I could do now, if I wanted to move my work forward, knowing I've got all that safe, I can right click the layer mask, I can apply it, and that allows me to move on with my manipulations in the way that I want to. What I did here was to increase the background canvas and copy my soldier a number of times. Now with the spinning round of the screen you can see the image I finally created. It looks quite complicated in the layers, but when you look at it for a few moments it really isn't. It's just one soldier occupies each layer. But after a short while I realized that perhaps if I removed the soldier and just left the drum, it gives me the opportunity to come up with a nice name too, Drummed Out. So I suppose the moral of the story is we can use fairly basic and simple selection tools like the Polygonal Lasso. It does have the power to cut out quite complex subjects from fussy backgrounds, and of course then it allows us to create something a little different. But as I said right at the start of this particular video, we can actually use a number of different tools to achieve the same ends, and it is all rather personal. Take this shot as an example. Let me just turn on the layer mask and you can see a complex subject taken from a complicated background. We could use the pen tool to do this, which we haven't demonstrated. We could use the Polygonal Lasso, or we could actually create this completely manually just using a mask. Doesn't really matter as long as you get a really good end result.